25 South African tourists caught up in the bus explosion that injured at least 16 people near Egypt's pyramid in Giza on Sunday have returned home this morning. A further 3 South Africans remain in Egypt as they are being treated in hospital for injuries sustained during the explosion. A device went off close to the Grand Egyptian Museum fence as the tourist bus was passing. It is not yet known who was behind the attack, but Islamist militants have attacked tourists in Egypt in the past. Let's get more on this story from the VOA's Edward Yeranian. Thank you for joining us on the program, Ed. What more can you tell us about the explosion that occurred near the Giza Pyramid on Sunday?
Well, Tenny, it's Ramadan here, and that means that the country is working at half speed. The police are out in force, though, as they usually are. I don't have a sense that they've changed their positioning or anything with respect to yesterday's unfortunate explosion. At the same time, you do hear people in the tourist sector who are a little bit worried that explosions like that one could affect tourism in general. I think over the last 5 or 6 years, we've had various explosions, and the tourism sector has suffered, but there are always tourists coming. I can tell you that because I go through several major hotels on a regular basis, and there are always tourists there. The Arab tourists, at the very least, seem to come to Egypt no matter what the general media angle is of events in the country. Western tourists, well, some of them have pulled back. You can see that there aren't as many Western tourists as there were 10 years ago. Yeah, I can say that. The numbers, I really don't know. The tourism industry officials are not giving out any numbers.
This attack specifically targeted tourists, which is quite worrying. Do we know who was responsible for the attack yet?
Well, the Interior Ministry put out a bulletin this morning claiming to have killed a number of terrorists, whatever you want to call them, with ties, alleged ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. They're singling out a group which is an armed wing of the Muslim Brotherhood. I don't know if they're the ones who carried out the attack. I'm not sure. We're certain of that, but the Interior Ministry said that they killed a number of them after storming their hideouts earlier this morning, 2 different groups apparently. Yeah, I mean, you really can't say for certain who is behind it unless they claim responsibility, and I haven't seen any claim of responsibility so far.
Yeah, Ed, Egypt is getting ready to host the African Cup of Nations for football next month. How is the government preparing for this with all this going on?
Well, we were here when the Pope came to visit, and everyone was worried that there were going to be a lot of incidents, and the Egyptian police and security forces are generally very efficient when they need to be, and they deploy, where they need to be, and generally it's difficult to, for the terrorists to carry out acts when the police are, in their hyper mode. I guess that's the way I'd put it.
Well, with security in hyper mode, as you say, what is the mood like in the country at the moment? Do Egyptians feel safe, or are there calls for the government to do more to protect the citizens?
I haven't heard of people complaining about being unsafe. I have seen reports saying that Egypt is one of the safest countries in the world. I don't know that it's safe if you cross the street. You could get hit by a car, but in terms of actual violence, there is very little violence that I see other than some high-profile attacks like this one and one against another tourist bus last December. Occasionally, we have attacks on churches, and one against a mosque in the Sinai about 3 years ago that killed, I guess, 300 people. So there are high-profile attacks from time to time.
For speaking to us on Network Africa.